Well, it's a third Doctor six-parter, which means it really should have been a four-parter. The Time Monster! Classic Doctor Who time. This is a third Doctor story with Joe Grant, also featuring the Master as oh so very many of the third Doctor stories did. And I guess I'll just deal with what I set up right off the bat. Yeah, this drags a little bit. This drags specifically in the front end, which, to be fair, if you're gonna drag anywhere in a story, like if some part of it's gonna drag, the front end is the best place for it to happen. Worst place is the back end, because then like it just falls apart. The middle isn't very good either, because if you start with momentum and then lose it and then pick it up again, the ending sells less impact because you had that middle bit with the lull. Yeah, no, the beginning is the drag on this, but once it picks up steam, it goes at a pretty good pace. First three episodes should have just been one episode, though. They really should have been. But let's talk about what we got here. We start with basically the Master immediately in the picture. He has snuck his way onto some sort of experiment lab, claiming to be a professor. He's working on something with time. The Doctor kind of figures out, catches on to what he's up to. He and Joe try and go to stop him. He is apparently trying to summon the titular time monster called Kronos. One could argue it is also a slight problem that you name the entire serial after something that is not very impressive when it shows up. Like, some of the later stuff done with Kronos is kind of interesting, but certainly when this thing first shows up, it's not a great design, and it just kind of screeches and flaps around and is firmly contained by the impenetrable technology that is a latching door. Not the most intimidating thing. Thankfully, though, it doesn't actually have to be, because even though it's the title, the threat is the Master. So, the monster itself not being the best thing ever, not the end of the world, actually. Although this story actually has much bigger stakes than we usually got in Classic. I know it's the cliche now for Doctor Who to be like, oh, it puts the whole universe at risk, like every 3 episodes. That wasn't really the case back in Classic. Not to say it never happened. It happened intermittently. But yeah, this is a case where if the Master is allowed to succeed, it puts the entire universe at risk. So bigger stakes than we usually get. So dealing with the front end, there's it's just drawn out too much, and there's a couple things that really drag it down in the front end. Basically, prior to the Master, the Doctor, and Joe all going back in time to Atlantis before it sank. That's where everything picks up. Prior to that, we're stuck with a few things that aren't great. We have some unit stuff, and look, I like the Brigadier, I like Benson, I like Yates. Benson even gets a little chance to be clever in this one, which is nice. But they do tend to drag down the stories sometimes, because they're there doing their normal shtick, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen you do this. I don't need to see this much of it, especially just watching them kind of mill about and try and figure out and keep up with the Doctor. And there's little things I appreciate that with the interactions, but then there's other times I'm like, Brig, why are you this questioning and incredulous about what's going on? This is like Tuesday to you. What? Come on, man. Pick up the pace. And it also doesn't help that there's this younger pair of scientists, a man and a woman, who are initially assisting who they think is the professor, but it's the Master. They're kind of insufferable, not strictly speaking as characters, but their dynamic is. It's just this non-stop battle of the sexes cliched nonsense. It's just this back and forth with the guy being, oh, I'm all in favor of women's lib, but in that it's cute, you gals think you're equal kind of way. But then she's always, lashing back at him like, oh, I thought you were the big strong man. It's like their entire dynamic is just this petty back and forth battle of the sexes nonsense. And it's just so boring and so cliche and so painful and goes on for so long. They do it so much. Hated them. So didn't care for that. Here's a funny thing that happens. So they actually do some interesting things with time and the TARDISes in this, because remember, the Master has his own TARDIS in this one. So there's a number of kind of cool things that happen. There are characters who kind of get like caught in this, it's not a freeze, but like time slows down. And you can tell they didn't have a slow motion camera. So instead, the actors start running like this, and they're not all doing it at the same pace, obviously. And like the Doctor comes through moving at closer to a regular speed, like to pull them out of it as they're trying to make it look like they're going slow motion. And that was my theory initially looking at, because it looked weird and wonky. And then there's like one shot where like real briefly it looks like it's actual slow motion for like 2 seconds, and it's so juddery and bad. Like, it's very clear that they just slowed down their normal film. They didn't have a proper slow motion camera, so it just looks awful. I'm like, I'm glad you had the characters just mime the slow motion. It is delightfully silly though. It is adorable. I did have fun with that. And the other really cool thing with the TARDIS is the TARDIS, both the Doctor and the Masters, basically get parked inside each other. Like each one is simultaneously parked inside the other one's control room. So if you exit one, you come out in the other. It's actually a neat little sort of non-Euclidean illogical geometry sort of thing. I dug that. That was nice. I continue to really love the Doctor and Joe's dynamic. I know I've mentioned this other times I've done stories with the two of them, but the reputation of Joe Grant as a companion really is this idea of like, oh, she's the ditz who needs everything explained to her. She's just there to be eye candy. No, their dynamic is fantastic. Like, does she not know nearly as much as the Doctor? Yeah, obviously. He's so much older and has experienced so much, and he's more educated than her, but he's also really respectful to her. Like, when she asks for clarification, he'll explain it, and 9 times out of 10, she'll get it. And hell, half the time, she'll guess it, or at least something pretty close, without him even have to explain it that much. And he's like, good job, Joe. But not like in a condescending way, and like, hey, I'm proud of you. Their dynamic is fantastic. I really do like the two of them together. They're so good. They're so good. Like, I'm not sure if I would put Jo as one of my top companions in and of herself, but I would put the third Doctor and Jo as one of my top dynamics for Doctor and companion, because I do think those are two separate things. When you're saying best companion, you might be factoring the dynamic into it, or you might just think like, this person's just real cool. Like, I think Tegan's a pretty cool companion. I don't super like her dynamic with the Fifth Doctor, though, who she spends most of her time traveling with. But then you've got someone like Jo, who, like, as a character in and of herself is fine, but like her dynamic with him, so good. It's fantastic. I really do like seeing them together. But really, when everything picks up is when the Doctor and the Master start interacting directly. When they start getting to banter, when they start getting to, rile each other up. God, those two were so good together. Delgado and Pertwee, they nailed it. They nailed that admiration, yet annoyance and frustration with each other. And oh God, Delgado could be smug like nobody's business. And also, I'm not, looking back on it, I'm not shocked that as much as this version of the Master leans on the hypnosis thing, and he does it a fair bit in this as well, I'm not shocked that they kind of retired it or just in general do it way less with the Masters since, if only because I'm not sure anybody else could just look at somebody and have it be as convincing that he just takes over their will. Because with Delgado, you believe that. Although also, it's kind of fun in this. There's a couple times where it doesn't work. And somebody's just like, no, man. No, that doesn't work on me. And you can tell the Master's frustrated because he just wants people to do what he says. So they go back in time to Atlantis, which also gives us a whole other set of characters, more interesting characters. Not too bad set in wigs and stuff. I think it's Ingrid Pitt playing the Queen. Dang. Hello. But also like brings a really cool dynamic. And I like her, the way that she interacts with the Master as well. I actually really like the two of them together. So that was really cool too. And as I mentioned, while the initial appearance of Kronos is bleh, the stuff that's done with Kronos towards the very end, I actually liked pretty well. It was pretty interesting. And the whole thing just picks up immeasurably once you get to episode 4. The first 3 episodes, it's not like you could just cut them, but the events that happen there could be trimmed down, like definitely trimmed down how long Unit is, looking for the Master. We're trying to find the Master. We think we found the Master. Here's a sign of the Master, and just give it a rest. Like we don't need it. Or like also the first 3 episodes feels like a whole lot of, so we're using this device to do this. Throw a lever. It didn't work. Well, let's tinker with it for 2 minutes. Throw the lever again. Now it worked. It just feels stretched. So much of this could have been condensed or cut. I truly do think you could get those first 3 episodes down to 1 episode. You'd have a phenomenal 4-parter. As it is, you have a 6-parter that is slow to start, but picks up pretty well after that. I mean, some of it's silly, some of it's campy. Bessie gets some nice highlights too, the car. But it's just, once it gets going, it's got some of the best interactions between characters and performers who are just really good together. And that to me is the heart of what's really good about this episode. And it's also got some fun notions aside from that. Like I said, doing a little bit more bending with notions of what you can do with time and space. That's a little bit more inventive than we saw in a lot of the earlier episodes of Doctor Who. Like, Doctor Who could get creative even earlier on. The Mind Robber comes to mind. But, seeing this sort of stuff going on with time warping and things like that, Classic did it significantly less than the revival era of Doctor Who does it. So it is kind of cool when it crops up and stuff like this. Yeah. By the time it was done, I liked it. I was nervous for almost the first half. I'm like, oh, geez, am I gonna have to slag off another Third Doctor story and get people mad at me? No, it's pretty dang good. Watch it turn out that this is one that nobody else thinks is good and I'm going to get slagged off for liking it. That'd be just my luck, wouldn't it? Anyways. The Time Monster. Have you seen it? What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe. They all help me out. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. Now to thank my highest supporting patrons. Robin Moore, Jared Boyce, Zubin Lafula, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Oliver B, Sean Miller, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Becky Sparks, Ulrich, Twilord, Mystic Shadow, Tracy Scrabbit, Pal Barabajoggle, Sir Didymus is my favorite, and shoutouts to some random folks from the lower tiers. Thanks to Callum Ray, 3 Muppets in a Trench Coat, and Alex Fireheart. If you want to hear me thank you by name, you can check out the reward tiers on the Patreon. You guys were pretty good today. Thank you.